About a 10 minutes talk, if I can restrain myself. Then we're going to have Art Jason of B. Walter & Company and Bryson Cutter of AIT Laboratories, and they're going to talk a little bit about their business. Then we'll take some questions at the end and answer any questions you may have. So to start things off, again, as I say, my name's Rich Meyer, and I work for Purdue's Manufacturing Extension Partnership. What we do is we go in and help companies in Indiana. We help them with a number of things. We help them with lean. We help them with quality. My particular area is to help companies with growth. I have a program where I go in and help companies develop ideas to grow and then take those ideas to market. I've also got a program to help companies that already have ideas but just need to figure out how to get those things quickly to market. That's what I do. And in the course of my activities, I get to speak to a lot of companies, a lot of manufacturing companies, a lot of various kinds of companies. It's part of the job that I really like. And through the course of the last 2 years, as the economy was really up and then started heading down, it was interesting to see the reaction of companies, which companies succeeded and which companies really struggled through that time period. We all know the economy dropped. Some companies were well prepared, some were not. And what I want to talk to you today about is a combination of things. First of all, my observations and my discussions with those companies is going to bring you some key points in terms of the companies that have really succeeded and done well through that time period. I'm also going to bring you a few principles from our growth program as to how a company can better position themselves for the next time that there's a downturn in the economy. So, I wanted to very briefly talk about some common traits of the companies that I see that are winning through this down economy. And it's all pretty straightforward, and none of it's rocket science, but I'll explain a little bit my thoughts on the matters as we go along. Key traits: they're diversified, they're innovative, they're nimble, they're proactive, and they're efficient. Companies that have all that together, they're doing fine. Companies that don't, they're the ones that are struggling. I'd like to go a little more detail as to what that means. First of all, diversified. Companies that are doing well, many of them are diversified. They have a portfolio of clients, a portfolio of customers, a portfolio of markets. You wouldn't take all your money and put it in one stock. Why would you take all your business and put it in one industry or worse, one company, and depend on that company? Because we all know that sectors were hit differently during this downturn. In the case of medical, it's done pretty well, but boy, if your business was 95% automotive, you're in trouble today. So the companies that have done well are diversified. They're to the point where one company or one market going down can't sink them. That's really where you want your company to be. These companies also replicate their best customers. You know, last summer when things were very good, I had companies tell me, we can't work on growth right now, I've got too much business, I'm too busy. Well, that's fine as long as you've got the right kind of customers, as long as you've got the good customers. In fact, what I encourage my clients to do is identify those bad customers and fire them. Be bold. Go out there and get rid of the customers that you don't like, that don't work well, that you don't make any money on, and go find some customers you can make money on. That helps in a downturn because profits are a good thing when the economy's tight. Innovation. Innovation is important. In fact, from my standpoint, I'm going to be so bold as to say that innovation is the best strategy for profitable growth. Companies that are innovative, have products that are unique, are the companies that they still had people buying from them during the downturn. Some data. A recent study from Georgia Tech. They interviewed 700 some odd companies and asked them to identify, self-identify what their growth strategy was, and they also reported their profit margin. Now you see over here, low cost is not the way to go in terms of profit. You're competing on price. The only way you can compete better or compete in a tougher market is to cut your price. That's not the way to grow your profits. Middle strategy, quick delivery, voice of customer, high quality. Those are okay, but clearly from this study you see that innovation is the key to higher profits. The companies that are surviving, that are making good money, are the companies that are innovating. Study from Harvard Business School found that 370% greater chance of success for ideas that they're taking to the market that are very or extremely unique. You want to succeed in the marketplace with a new growth project, with a new product or a new service, better be unique. Here's another study, radical innovation versus incremental innovation. You can see here that company valuation is 7 times greater when they're offering products that are radically innovative. And marketing is 9 times more effective for products that are radically innovation. It just makes sense. If you've got something that's unique and that's different than anybody else is offering, it's easier to market that thing. People are going to want it. When you're selling the same old, it's much harder to sell it. It's much more of a push than a customer pull. Also, another study found that companies that patent ideas grow 5 times faster than companies that don't. Now, it's not the fact they've got these patents, because we can go round and round all day long about patent protection and the value to your company and what that value really is, but it's the mindset. It's the mindset that we're going to innovate. We're going to create something new that people want, that's new to the marketplace, that people are going to come knocking on our door asking for that. Companies that patent grow 5 times faster. Now, our mantra in our program, the thing that we say over and over again, why innovation matters, why profit matters, because if you're not meaningfully unique, you better be cheap. You can compete on 1 or 2 things. You can compete on price, or you can compete on a unique and meaningful service, a product that's meaningful to your customer. Guess which one's more profitable? Well, I already gave you that answer in the previous graph. Innovation is much more profitable. If you're competing on price, your only choice is to become more efficient and cut your prices. But if you've got something unique and new to the marketplace, that's in the position that you really want to be. Nimble. And this really goes to the heart of some conversations I had with several companies in the marketplace who found that, boy, when in a down economy, there's some real opportunities. If you're ready to react, if you're prepared to react quickly, you can find some real opportunities out there in the downturn. One example, a company that I've talked to, they had a failed competitor. They went in and took their business. They took the business from them. Furthermore, they also got a real good deal on some cheap equipment to expand their capacity because companies were having fire sales. There are some real opportunities out there for companies that are nimble. Also, there are threats in a bad economy, and you have to be prepared for those. Companies that are succeeding anticipated those threats. One example, I talked to a company who was in a niche market, and large companies were going down market because they wanted to keep their factories full. That's a real problem. When you've got a very large company coming in and competing in your small company niche, that's a problem. You have to anticipate that and be ready for those types of issues. Growth, proactive growth. When do you grow your company? I would submit to you grow your company at any time, but I tell you what, I was talking to companies last summer when the economy was good, and what they told me, as I said, was, hey, I'm too busy to work on growth. You know, it's all I can do to get product out the door. I'm too busy to work on growth. But that's the time to do it. You have to be proactive about growth instead of waiting for the growth to come to you. Some customers, some of my clients' business system is to wait for somebody to come knock on their door, folks. That's fine when the economy's great, but in a down economy, that doesn't work. You have to be proactive with growth. I have to put in a system for growth. This is one of the things that we really encourage our clients to do. You know, a system for growth. You've got a system for production. You've got a system for product delivery. You've got a quality system. Why don't you have a system for growth? Manage growth like you would a production. Always have growth projects in the pipeline. Always have a process and projects in the pipeline, so you've always got new products, new services, new ideas coming to market. That way, in a down economy, if you've got this pipeline, you're ready to go. You're ready to step on the gas when the economy comes back around. One of the things I encourage my clients to do is create a growth pipeline. Actually have a list. Here are the 2 projects we're working on. Here's the potential money in those 2 projects. But here's the next 6, 7, 8 projects that we'll work on once we get those to market. Always have that pipeline. Last thing you want to do is be booking along, being real busy producing stuff. The economy hits a downturn, and now all of a sudden, what are we going to do? I don't know what to do. How do we grow? Always have a process, always have a pipeline of growth. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Dr. W. Edwards Deming. One of the things that he said often, over and over again, is that 94% of the failures due to the system, 6% are due to the workers. If you've got issues, 94% is because you don't have the system in place. Okay? It's not that your workers are dumb or workers are incapable. It's you do not have the correct system in place. And people say, well, he was talking about quality. Dr. Deming was a quality guy. What does it have to do with growth? What does it have to do with innovation? What does it have to do with managing your business? Well, actually, Dr. Deming said the factory only offers 3% of the opportunity for company improvement. In his later years, Dr. Deming was very frustrated with American companies because they thought he was talking about the plant floor. Same principles apply to growth. The same principles apply to managing your business, managing your growth, managing your innovation. So, according to Dr. Deming, if you want better results from your growth projects, fix your growth system. It's not the workers, it's the system. If you want to grow, fix the system. Companies that have been growing and surviving through this downturn are the companies that have a growth system in place. Now, obviously, efficient operation is important. Lean corporate culture, energy efficiency, quality processes, supply chain management, all that is imperative to be competitive and stay in business. I mean, your key concern is to keep your business going and then growing. So you have to do this. And certainly, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership Group also has programs to help companies with all these things, to become more efficient. Bottom line then, if you're more efficient, have more efficient operation, you're cost competitive, you have a better managed workforce, and you're more flexible at lower volumes. When your volumes go down, you can still make money because you're well managed, because you're efficient. That's very important. Companies that are surviving through this downturn can survive at lower volumes. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit, or rather, we've talked about the common traits of winning companies. They're diversified, innovative, nimble, proactive, and efficient. Easy stuff, right? Art, is that easy stuff? That's easy to talk about. It's easy to say in a very academic way that this is what you ought to do. Well, why bother doing all that? Why bother doing all this right? Why bother doing this? Well, Dr. Deming said this: it's not necessary to change. Survival isn't mandatory. You don't have to do this stuff. You don't have to survive either. I want to close my portion of the presentation here with a little description, a metaphor of the losing companies, the companies that have not done well through this downturn. It's from a book called The Black Swan, and the author of The Black Swan talks about the turkey as a metaphor for businesses. The turkey is hatched, and they've got light, and they've got heat, and they've got water, and they've got cracked corn. Life is good. They grow up. Life couldn't be better. You're pampered, you're taken care of, and life is wonderful. And I was talking to companies last summer that were saying, man, I don't have to work on growth. I've got all the business I can handle. And then, oddly enough, it was about Thanksgiving last year. Thanksgiving comes around, life takes a turn for the worst. That's exactly what happened to some of those manufacturing companies. They were too busy to work on growth, and then the economy went down, and suddenly they've got problems. The time to work on growth is before you get to Thanksgiving. That's the time to work on growth. Again, my name is Rich Meyer. I work for the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. We help Indiana companies. I personally help Indiana companies to grow, but we also offer a lot of programs to help companies lean, quality, and so forth. A lot of opportunities there. That is my portion of the presentation. Which one of you gentlemen want to go next? Art wants to go next. I'd like to introduce Art real quick. Art is the president of B. Walters & Company in Wabash, Indiana. They are a manufacturer. We brought a couple of companies today, kind of a contrast. Small manufacturing company. Downturn has been a little tough on them, but the thing that really impresses me about Art is his company has been very aggressive about finding new markets, new products. For a small company, I thought that's really outstanding. So we'll turn it over to Art.
Get me wired in here.
All right.
Work? Okay, my name is Art Jason, and my company is B. Walter & Company. I have a quote from Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he said, "Be sincere, be brief, and be seated." And that's what I'm going to try to follow. My presentation today is about my company, B. Walter, and what we have tried to accomplish during these last several years and what we needed to do to be ready to charge forward in the upcoming years. Being a small company with less than $5 million in sales, we're not a Toyota, we're not a whatever, we do not have the resources to get much outside help, so we must rely on our internal talent. A little background about B. Walter. Our company started in 1887. We're an Indiana-based company, The company was started in Wabash County and originally produced wagon wheel spokes and wood table slides for extension tables, which were for the furniture industry. Not a very high-tech company, but have been around for a long time. In fact, we're one of the oldest companies in the state. That's still operating. In 1928, the company decided to develop a few hardware items for the furniture industry and began a metal stamping operation to produce these parts. All these items were produced in the same facility, which we still occupy, which was the first slide that we had up here. In the 1950s, the company expanded to another location. We determined that our material source and our labor could be better in another location, so we chose the state of Tennessee. We're on a growth path during the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The furniture industry was just moving right along. Some of our customer base was Ethan Allen, you name it, Thomasville, we pretty much supplied them. We were basically servicing the furniture industry at that time. Our sales ratio was 80% wood products and 20% metal hardware items. When we began in the 1990s, we began to see a movement of furniture manufacturing to the Pacific Rim countries. All the big names were starting to build factories or get some kind of relationship over in China, Indonesia, some of the Pacific Rim countries there. By the late 1990s, our customer base had reduced by 20%. We knew we had to do something in order to survive, so we began to concentrate more on our metal business and try to develop some products that would be a new direction for the company. By 2006, we were really struggling with the wood business, so we sold off our Tennessee operation, which was totally wood producing production, and we sold our wood product line to our competitor. Instead of buying our competitor, we sold our wood business to our competitor. This gave us some capital to work with, and it paid off all of our debt, which was a key to keeping our business going. This made us look brilliant until we found out that what customer base we had left was not enough to sustain us in this down economy. At this time, 2006, 2007, every part of the economy was declining. So this was what our company began to do. These are the 5 steps that we came up with, and the 5 steps were to lean down, improve financial position, shed non-profitable operations, search for assistance money, and new product development. We looked at every way we could cut costs. We started with minimizing our raw material inventories. We tracked our purchased material compared to consumed inventory and also figured out our inventory turns. We then looked at our projected sales and then figured out how we needed to produce our products. It was a tough issue because we basically had a small backlog. So we had to decide who we wanted to keep and still be able to meet our projected customer needs. Small orders, less time to produce these orders, forced our company to react quicker with less people. No one wants inventory, so it has become a challenge to keep our customers happy and stay lean. That next one, thanks. The second was the cash flow management. We negotiated a line of credit to improve our financial position. It was a good time since we had no debt. I don't know how many people work with their financial institutions, but most of them don't want to give you any money when you've got a problem or you want to operate or whatever. If you don't need the money, that's when they want to give it to you. So the bank was willing to work with us. It is very difficult to negotiate with banks in this present economy unless you are not needing the money. The banks have become very conscious about lending money to companies for operating. Remember one thing, cash is king. If you have cash, you're in great shape. So we curtailed any unnecessary spending, and closely scrutinize accounts receivable to try and keep them on a 30-day basis. Many customers were trying to negotiate longer terms. And that, I mean, this was pretty standard at the time. Everybody wanted to go 60-90 or as far as they can stretch you out and use your money. The next step was pruning our product line, shedding non-profitable items or our divisions. We reviewed all the product line, order history for marginal profit, minimum production level, run requirements, and technically outdated items. And obviously, being an old company, we had to look at a lot of these items that we had that were being supplied to the furniture industry. They were items that were not being purchased anymore, or we couldn't even ship to China because this was being produced by about half the price that we could produce it over there. So we started pruning some of these products. By forecasting annualized order quantities, we were able to look at what our inventory levels needed to be, estimated our minimum production runs, and see what our cost of carrying inventory for our customer would be compared to margins for these items. And that's the key. What Rich had to say is margin is the answer, not necessarily whether you have sales or you just have a bunch of stuff going out the door. If you're not making money, forget it. We also began to start prospecting prospecting for new business, which is very difficult in a down economy. Everybody's looking for product. Everybody's looking for something to do. We were very fortunate to find several items that were non-automotive related, and that was pretty, and I know the man from Toyota is up here, but that was one of the keys to our success, is that everybody was looking to tie into the automotive. And so we were saying, no, we really didn't want to do that. We didn't really have the credentials to do that type of business anyway. But so we started looking at other things. We had a product that was patented, which was needed by the furniture industry. And what we had developed over several years was an item to keep furniture from tipping over. It was what we call a tipping restraint. And it was an item that was required by the furniture industry and the Consumer Product Safety Commission. They asked the furniture industry to do this. They didn't require them to do it, but they asked them. So we went out and developed it for them and started selling this product. We were very fortunate that the Consumer Product Safety Commission made a statement to the industry that they recommended the use of a restraining device for all case goods over 36 inches. And they used our patented device as an example of the type of restraint to be used. So it was great advertising. When that went into the magazine, I mean, it was like, wow. Yeah. So that was one of the items that we kind of kept us going. Where are we now? Once again, the next item that I was going to talk about is the search for grant assistance or some kind of assistance and money. In searching for this assistance money, we were able to find 3 different programs that were either federal or state programs. Eureka, which was provided by Rich Meyer here to us, a program to help develop new ideas that could be eventually transformed into new products. And I'll get into further on that. The other one was Great Lakes Trade Adjustment Assistance Center. It was a 50-50 match, federal support program, help with new product development. We were not ISO certified, so it helped us with certification and succession planning, which I'm the sole owner of this company. I'm getting up in age. It's necessary to start looking at where are we going, what are we going to do with this company, and so I was able to get some money to help us either get a consultant or get somebody in to help us plan for this. We have other areas we can also use this money for, also market research, sales prospecting, and our website improvement. So this federal money that we were able to get, and this was last year, it really was a boon to us because being a small company, we didn't want to use a lot of our cash, so whenever we wanted to do some of these projects, we were able to get an assistance from the Great Lakes Trade Adjustment Center. The third was a TAG grant, which is a state-supported program, training acceleration grant. We were one of the last to get that in last November, I'm sure we were told about it. Rich helped us get the people to help us apply for it, and I think we were like a week before they shut the whole program off. So fortunately we have it. It's good through 2010. We haven't got into that portion because most of that is for training, so we're just basically getting into some new products and some new ideas, and so this training grant will help us with our training our employees. I'm going to talk a little bit about Eureka. Eureka is a program that was presented to us by Rich of Purdue University. Rich took our management team, several of my board of directors, and 2 of our suppliers, and had them think of potential new products for the company. We had a 2-day program, and it really was a boon to us. For being a small company, we don't sit around and say, okay, what are we thinking about or whatever. This kind of stimulated us to start thinking about what can we do to make our company bigger and better. And it's a great program, and I think you need to talk to Rich about it, and I think you're still working with this, I assume. And it's big companies, small companies, I think it's something that's real good. This program helped our group sort through several ideas and set our focus on 2 projects that could help the growth of our company. We settled on one because a lot of them have 2 going simultaneously, but we just didn't have enough staff. So we just settled on one project, and that project really kind of moved along, and I'll get into that in a little bit later. Great Lakes Trade Adjustment Assistance, new product development. We used the ideas that were created by Eureka Program and narrowed it down to one, like I said, and this product needed further refining because being a small company, we didn't have the engineering staff or we didn't have just the employees to keep the project going. So we were able to use this federal grant, and which is a program set up by the government, that the money was used to hire an engineering and design firm out of Indianapolis. And we sat down with them. They have done major projects for other big companies, and we were kind of a small project to them, but they were excited about what we were thinking about. We showed them our idea. They worked with us for several months, and not only did we come up with other ideas or refine what we had, they were able to get a working prototype for us. This was really a really good project for us, because when we had gone to our customers prior to this, because we had a similar idea, none of them really wanted to talk to us because they wanted to see what it would be like. So it was very timely to have this prototype, to be able to go down to the customer, show them what we had, get them excited about it, and really partner up with us on what we wanted to do with this. The other thing that we did with the Great Lakes trade adjustment is that we did not have ISO 9000, and most people go, whoa, this thing's been around for a long time. Well, we've been around for a long time, obviously, but we never really thought that we needed ISO 9000 until we got into a point where we found that no matter what industry we talked to, whether it was automotive or appliance or anything else, they always talked about the ISO. And so we used some of this trade adjustment money to help us get certified. We have gone through pre-audit. We have our final audit coming up the 1st and 2nd of October. We feel real good about it. We think we're going to have the certification, so we're really excited that that's another feather in our cap. This is succession planning portion of this Great Lakes assistance. I have not done much with that right now. I need to do that. Obviously, there are several moves that I could do. I can do an ESOP, I can sell the company, or I can just dissolve it. And obviously, I don't want to do that. So what I'm looking at is probably either finding somebody to come in and take the company over eventually or sell it off. So that's my long-term program. Getting into, let's see, let's go to the next one here. Oh yeah, I've gone through all this. I'm sorry. Next one. Okay, good. And the last thing is the new product development, and this is the last of our plan. And it's not necessarily the last thing to do. We found out that it was very important to have our own proprietary line. You know, you can do a lot of product development, but if you have a product that you have a patent on, or you have that you know you're producing on your own and selling it to your customers, it's definitely an advantage. There's no question about it. So we've already worked with the product we've developed with Rich. We have several others in the pipeline right now that we've worked on. And keep in mind that we're still a very small company, and for us to do anything, it just takes us a very long time. And it's unfortunate because we'd like to move faster than we can, but we wear so many hats. We wear, you know, I'm dealing with finances, I'm dealing with engineering, I've got an engineering background, I'm dealing with management of the company, and all the other people all have a similar situation. We're always changing different hats every day or every week. So it takes a while to get any kind of products out and into the marketplace. I guess I've given you a quick overview of what I've done to help us survive in this economy and how we have invested our time and energy to try to prepare ourselves for the future. Everybody knows that this economy will turn around. The question is when. The companies that take this time to make themselves stronger will be the survivors. And that's the way I look at it. I'm looking to be a survivor. I'm moving this thing on further. I cannot stress enough that the importance of not just sitting back and waiting. You must move forward. And this last picture shows it. You can't stick your head in the ground because you won't be here tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Our next speaker is a contrast in terms of their industry. We've got Art, who's a manufacturing small company that's really being aggressive about looking forward to research. AIT Labs, on the other hand, is in an industry that's really in pretty good shape, and they're growing. High-tech company. So at this point in time, we'll ask Bryson to come on up. Bryson Cutter from AIT Laboratories.
Right. Me all set up there. Awesome. Dad, I need this. I've been told I've swallowed a megaphone as a child. So, my name is Bryson Cutter. I'm actually the recruiting manager for AIT Laboratories, and so I'm usually on college campuses. I'm recruiting their students, but we're here to talk a little bit more about our company, and we've been very, very fortunate in the last few months, last year and a half or so. While other companies are trying to survive and change strategies, we've been in a position where we're thriving. We know we count our lucky stars every day that we're in the market we're in, that we've had the success that we've had, and I'll talk a little bit more about how we've been able to accomplish this and how we've been able to I guess keep the train rolling. Use a little Purdue metaphor there. Keep the train rolling and making sure that we're still looking forward, being nimble, being innovative at the same time to make sure that we continue to be at the top of our game, the leader in our markets. So, are you going to be my? All right. So, AIT Laboratories, we are a forensics and toxicology laboratory located on the southwest side of Indianapolis. It was founded in 1990, so about 100 years after our friends at Walter founded their company, we decided to come about. So, AIT Laboratories, we're a premier reference laboratory specializing in pain management, forensics, clinical, and pharmaceutical testing. The company, we're headquartered right beside the old airport terminal and the Park Fletcher area, if you're familiar with the Indianapolis area. So what we do and who we are, we are a very diversified company, which you mentioned earlier. One of the first things the first keys to success is being diversified, and I think we certainly are that. You won't find any other laboratory in the country that does the different types of work that we do. The first, and I guess where we've had the most success as of late and the most growth as of late, we found a market called pain management, and we're one of the top two, if not the top leader in the country in this market. What pain management is, basically in the past few years, there's become an issue with clinics or doctors prescribing pain meds to their clients, and clients would or their patients would either be overdosing and hurting themselves, or underdosing and peddling them on the streets for some side cash. We found that to be, unfortunately, has become a large issue across the country. So we and a couple other companies took it upon ourselves to work with clinics and physicians to have their patients checked on a regular basis. They send in specimens from their patients on a regular basis to make sure that they are complying with their pain meds for their liability purposes, and to just make sure that their patients are complying with their pain medications. So that's where the bulk of our growth has been as of late, and we are probably the leader in the country, if not one of the top two companies in the country in that market. Very, very new market. The second area we've been involved with since our founding, the forensics market. A lot of people, you hear forensics, you think CSI, you get really excited, at least all these young college students are recruiting out there. What we do, if you've ever seen an episode of CSI and they say, oh, we send it off to the lab to be analyzed. We're the lab. We're that 20 seconds of the show that's not very, very cool. So, so forensics work, what we're doing, and we work with a lot of medical examiners and coroners across the country. They send in blood samples to our headquarters of deceased specimens, and they want to determine how someone died. So the toxicology end of things, they send in blood samples. We say, well, it was cocaine, LSD, whatever was found in their system, or a combination of certain controlled substances or drugs that caused someone to be deceased. So that's our forensics piece of it. The pharmaceutical, being nimble and looking forward, we're looking to get into new markets. Instead of standing still, we're on some great ground right now with our standing on some very, very firm ground with our pain management, but we're looking to diversify ourselves further and get into the pharmaceutical clinical trial testings. This is a market that we've never had any experience with, but we think it's one that is emerging, that's going to be there for a while and be a very strong market, and we have some of the technology in place in our laboratory already that can sustain some growth in the pharmaceutical world. So that's going to be our third. We're actually unveiling that and coming out with our brand new AIT Bioscience division at the end of this year. Yeah. When you think about who AIT is, we are our founder and our CEO, Dr. Evans. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's done a lot of speaking at different college campuses and different. He's been featured in IBJ and a couple other places. But a great man, and really the company follows his lead very closely. He was the founder in 1990. He was a former tenured professor at the IU School of Medicine. He's a former director of the Indiana Department of Toxicology, and a native. He's Indiana born and raised. Very, very proud to be Indiana born and raised, and wants to keep everything AIT headquartered and keep its roots here in the state. He's a very humble man, extremely humble man. You'd never know that this. He does the leadership by walking around aimlessly, he calls it. He'll walk around and talk to our janitors, talk to our line workers every day, just to learn more about them, who they are, and how they're doing in their job and in their personal lives. And I think that type of leadership from the top down really makes the rest of the company have that same type of humble mentality. Even through the great success we've had, we know to stay grounded, because he's number one. He's leading the charge, and he's the most grounded person of us all in the company. So a great man, and very, very accomplished. Actually, this morning he's getting his own building named after him at the St. Joseph's College, his alma mater up in Rensselaer. So he's also a Vietnam War veteran, has traveled in every single country, every single state. Anybody I bring in to interview, he'll jump in my interview, stop in, and he'll say, well, where are you from? And they'll say, I'm from Podunk Town in Indiana. He'll know exactly where it is. He's done a case there. He's done something. So very, very down-to-earth type of person. I think our company follows his lead. So what does our success look like in the last few years? we've experienced a large amount of growth just in the last 4 or 5 years, and it's documented here. In 2005, we experienced a 33% growth. That's when we first identified the pain management market and started to get things rolling and started to develop some clientele. 2006, we had a 50% growth in revenue. 2007, we grew 80%, and last year we grew 106% growth last year, which is astounding, phenomenal. And if you're asking what we're doing this year, in 2009, we were currently trending at about 104% growth. So it's crazy the things we're doing, and we have meet with the president meetings every month. Like I said, Dr. Evans is very in tune with his employees, and he sits down. He has 3 sessions for all three lines of workers, first, second, and third shifts. He'll come in and he'll meet with our company and tell them everything about. He'll show our budget sheet, say this is where we're winning, this is where we're losing, and basically ask any questions about the financials, the future plans of the company, anything like that, just to make sure that we're being as transparent as possible with our employees. During that time, he will state to all those young graduates who just graduated from college and this is their first job, it isn't like this everywhere, and it's not going to be like this forever. We're in a fantastic place. We know that. We can't take it for granted, but we're hoping this is going to last as long as possible. So. Total employees, we've had a lot of actual human capital growth. 2005, we had 59 employees all told in the company. 2006, we were up to 103. 2007, 148. 2008, 246. And as of, I think, last week, we hit the 350 mark in our company. So as a recruiting manager, I'm very busy, but we're looking to this isn't going to slow down much. I was interviewed by a young man at the Ball State newspaper a couple days ago at a career fair, and I think he had his title already planned out. You know, recession hits hard. Students, no jobs for students out there, something like that. And he came up to me and he said, "Well, how's the economy recession affected you and your company?" I said, "Well, not at all. We're hiring more students than ever." And I think kind of threw him off, and he tried to ask a few other questions to get some negative responses. But we're in a good place with hiring and bringing in more people and growing as a company as well. So. A winning company. We are, I'm sure everybody is competitive in their own right. We want to be the best at everything we get into. We want to have the best training. We want to have the best, of course, the best revenue growth. We want to have the best company culture. Everything we do, our leadership and our entire company we're very driven, and we want to compete in everything and win awards. Awards aren't everything, but we enjoy having some of those in our cabinet. So we were the Small Business of the Year last year, and one of the best places to work. We're actually ranked number 9 in the country last year. Our CEO, Dr. Evans, his competitive nature, he came back and he was actually pretty upset and said we're going to be number 1 next year. So we'll see if we hit that goal this year. We're ranked 49th nationwide in the Inc. 5000 in the health industry category, ranked 598th out of the 5,000 growing companies in the country. In 2008, we were also a best place to work. I believe we were around 26th or 27th in 2008. So we're moving up a little bit in that category, and that's something that our CEO is very, very passionate about, more so than a lot of the other the revenue growth or anything like that. It's how we treat our employees. And we were the Inc. 5000, jumped more than 1,000 spots that year. Dr. Evans himself was the Entrepreneur of the Year last year in 2008. We were one of the Indiana companies to watch, and one of the IBJ's fastest growing private companies. We were ranked 7th in 2008. We attribute a lot of our success. One of it is we're in a great market right now, but our company culture is something that is stressed. The first thing you come in the door on your orientation day, you have an hour sit down with Dr. Evans, and he talks about the founding of our company, where it's been, and what our company culture is. And they have a 3-day orientation into just who we are, what every aspect of our company is, and learning about what it is to be an AIT employee more than anything. So company culture is a word that's preached and preached and preached all over every day throughout our company. Average salary with benefits of an AIT employee is $72,000. More than 14% of our employees hold a PhD or master's degree. 20% of them are involved in continuing education. We do sponsor a lot of, we have a continuing education program. We give tuition reimbursement for all of our employees. Something that's unique about that, and I say this to a lot of companies, they look at me like we're crazy. We will sponsor anybody to go back to school for anything. If you are if you have a chemistry degree and they say, and you say, I want to go back to culinary arts school. I want to be a chef. Go ahead. We'll take care of that. We'll reimburse that. No reason to bring that to the company. No reason to commit, for 2 to 5 years after they sponsor that commitment, that educational investment. So they're all about continuing learning, continuing growth and development. And Dr. Evans thinks that's just as important as the salary itself, as the continual growth and development. More than 55% of employees have received or are receiving secondary or higher degrees from Indiana colleges and universities. We're very Indiana proud. I only do career fairs and things like that for Indiana institutions. Not there's not great talent outside of that, but we're trying to stop the brain drain that's out there. We've been very adamant about that and really promoting Indiana colleges and universities. 25% of all profits that are generated in a calendar year are given directly back to our employees in profit sharing. There is a quarterly bonus structure that's based on salary and rank and all that, but our net profit sharing, what's unique about that, it's given back to every single employee in the company at a flat rate. So our janitor of the company is getting the same profit sharing bonus as our CEO of the company, our COO of the company, which makes, if you look at our company and you look at the way that even our entry-level employees look at their job on a daily basis, they know that, we've had people say, well, I've used, 2 less rubber gloves a day, during my experience, my procedures, just so, I save that few bucks. That's going to go my profit sharing check. That's going to go to help out everybody else's profit sharing check at the end of the year. And when you see, with our current growth, when you see someone has an annual salary of $20,000 and they're bringing home a check for about $10,000 to $13,000 at the end of the year in profit sharing, a lot of tears and a lot of happy faces in the company. It's something really unique and special that our company does. We have a matching 401k program that's in place. 45% of our employees are enrolled in that. We just became an ESOP company, an employee stock-owned company. So we've had all these great things in place, all the quarterly bonus and profit sharing, all that good stuff. And just in July, I believe as of July 1, Dr. Evans took the whole company that he's founded and cultivated and sold it to his employees. So not only do we have all these great things in place, we now have an ownership in the company, which makes every single person in the company, Dr. Evans stresses it, it's yours now. It's not mine, it's yours. Work hard, make sure that you maintain the culture, make sure that you maintain the success we've had, and we see that paying off in the daily work ethic of our employees. They're also reinvesting in the people themselves. We have a developed wellness program at the state's beginning to give some incentives for institutions that have developed wellness programs, and we want to be the leader in that. We want to be the first and the best wellness program in place. We sponsor free gym memberships. We do. We sponsor people to take part in runs and walks, 5Ks, things like that. Anything they want to be involved in. We have personal development programs. If you say, I want to lose 10 pounds this month, we have a wellness coordinator who works with you specifically to get to that goal. So a very unique wellness program we have in place, and leadership programs to make sure that all of our internal talent that we're bringing in is developed. And if you have a goal to be a manager or an executive in our company, they're going to help guide you on that process as best possible. One of the most important thing to Dr. Evans, right in front of the company culture, is client satisfaction. If we don't have clients, we're not going to have any success. We're not going to be able to do the great things that we're doing. Our clients, 98% of them rated as excellent or good last year, with the very small percentage, 0.9% fair and 0.4% poor. So we are every day, this is our guiding metric for our entire company. The quality of testing we're doing in our lab, to the quality of service that our sales team is giving and our client services are giving. So this is the number one most important thing to our company. The keys to success, all told, to summarize all of them, we're a leader in the pain market. I wouldn't say we sought out a new market. We found that this could be a great driver of revenue for us, and it has. and we want to be the best. We want to be the best in this market. Like I said, we're 1 and 2, neck and neck right now, but I think we're gonna surpass our competitors and maintain this the #1 spot. Strong executive leadership. Humble executive leadership. I know there's a lot of great books out there, from Good to Great and things like that stress humble leadership. I've never seen it more at work than at AIT Laboratories. It's great to have a CEO, a COO, our CIO. All of our executive team are great minds, great thinkers, great business folks, but they're also extremely great people. So it makes it easy for everybody else in the company to follow their lead. So. Employee-focused company culture. You saw the things we do for our employees. We want every day to be. We don't want people to say, "I don't want to go to work today. It's a Monday." You don't hear those things at AIT. They're glad to work for the company. They're glad to go to bat for our executive team and their managers, because they know they're treated well on a daily basis. Strong client satisfaction. Like I said, #1. That's our #1 goal from Dr. Evans. And cutting-edge business and technology. We have implemented brand new training. TWI, we are the only health and life science program that's put a training within an industry program in place just in the last 2 months in the entire country. We asked them, we said, who else is doing this out there? And they said, nobody. You want to come speak at a conference for us and promote it? So that's something that we're doing. We have a brand new orientation program that's really getting people embedded in the company culture. A brand new wellness program. We want to be the best in the state at that and have that very, very well developed. And we're also looking into, we have the best technology as well. We do a lot of mass spec. If you're familiar with some analytical chemistry work, we do a lot of mass spectrometry work, and we have the most cutting edge technology and more of those instruments than a lot of the labs, any lab probably in the country that's our size. So we're investing. With all this growth, we're still investing in our future, investing in our equipment, and investing in our technology, building our new AIT Bioscience wing, division of our company, and also they're already looking at some different markets out there. Cancer biomarkers is an emerging industry, and maybe doing some work in China in the near future. So while we're not sitting back and getting fat off of what we're doing right now, we're looking to the future. What's going to be next? How can we diversify ourselves further to make ourselves stronger if the pain management market and other markets aren't thriving? So that's AIT Laboratories. So I guess. All right. Thank you.
Two contrasting companies, both Purdue Manufacturing Extension Partnership clients. Art with our growth program, Eureka Winning Ways, and Bryson's company's working with the TWI, training within industry. At this point in time, I'd like to open it up for either of these gentlemen for any questions you may have about their business or about how they're approaching the economy. Yes, sir.
For the first gentleman, how do you research, you talk about you have new products in the pipeline, how do you figure out what products you're going to make? Do you do research on, what companies might be looking for in the future, or how do you go about that, deciding what would be a good product to make for the future?
Normally, we go to industry shows and see what's out there, and then see where it's going. We are trying to develop a new product right now, basically because we have another product in the process. Because we had gone to a show and saw an application for this product in a different way, and we said, wow, we could take this product and move it into another area.
Prototypes, we've done some minimal marketing already to it. Obviously, for a small company, so we've got that sitting in the sideline. The one we developed for the Eureka is moving along a little bit faster. So at this stage of the game, that's the one that we developed through Eureka was a recommendation by a customer.
successful, the growth is booming, everybody's happy. What's the worry?
I think our two biggest worries right now that come to mind are keeping the company culture. I mean, that's the biggest thing as we're growing. It's been a small company feel the entire time. And as we grow, we don't want to lose that. Because I think that's a big driver, the humility of the company and the close-knit family feel. That's something to take very, very seriously. And it sounds all great and it's kind of the soft side, but it's something we do take very seriously. So maintaining that and also growing at this fast of a rate, we have new processes we're putting in place. We need to make sure that, like I said, we're still looking forward, reinvesting in ourselves. So I think controlling the growth and making sure that I think making sure that we're keeping up with other companies that are our size. You know, whereas we've been a small size company. We have a lot of processes in place that are good for a 100-person company and a 125-person company. We're looking at other people in similar markets out there to model ourselves after and look for new ideas to keep up with the growth. So.
And Art, for your company, if you think about a crucial call you made, one of the things you mentioned is getting out of the wood business and sort of putting your chips on metal.
Right.
When you made that call, you know, was this was a Hail Mary pass, or was this, you know, how was that road, that fork in the road taken?
We had the wood business at 80% of our business, and 20% was metal. So we had some experience in it. We had the equipment, which was underutilized. So we felt that if we could add more to that, since we've already had some experience in it and a small customer base, that it would that would be a good growth potential for us. The other thing that came up is, which I didn't mention in this, was we had a local customer come to us, and it's really kind of a funny thing, because they came to us at a meeting and they said, well, you know, how's the wood business? And I said, well, you know, we've sold all that. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, we're now in the metal. And he goes, well, I didn't know you guys were doing metal. And they were like a quarter of a mile away from us. So I said, well, what are you talking about? He said, we've been looking for somebody to manufacture a metal product that we've patented, but we don't make any metal. So we partner with them, and we're making all these metal parts. What it is it's a structure for installing insulation. Make a long story short, a lot of our products are, well, right now we're in the Freedom Tower in New York. We're working on the Spiral Tower in Chicago. Once that gets going again, we've shipped to Dubai and so in Taiwan. So this has kind of been a boon by accident almost. But being in the metal business was an assistant.
But when you moved from wood to metal,
Right.
did the size of your market shrink from 5 million to 1 million?
Yeah,
You went back?
Yeah. It shrunk to, well, no, it went from 17 million at one time down to 5. And then we went below that. So now, you know, we've picked back up again. But it was scary. Yeah, there's no question about it. But, you know, the decision was that our particular product line had gone overseas, and there was not going to be any chance to compete in that. In fact, if you look at any of the furniture industry, it's been decimated by the imports. There's really not a whole lot left here in the United States. It is slowly coming back, but our decision was right at that time to move on to the metal and work on new projects.
Because one of the things I think about is how important is it to take that early decision to cut loose
Right.
of this industry.
Right.
And, you know, in some sense, how much of a risk is that? And, you know, was it easier because you were a small company and you decided and boom?
And that's the thing about it. The best thing is that we made the decision at a good time. One, we were able to sell our product line to our competitor. Two, we were able to unload the equipment and the facility, which a lot of people are still sitting on a lot of plants throughout the United States, and that money made us debt free. I mean, not having any debt, and I'm sure all these business people that are in here know that is a key to long-term survival. You know, you're not worried about having to negotiate every year with your
for your loans or do anything like that, and you have some cash to operate.
So the last question for Rich is, one of the things that Art brings up is the link to financing.
Mm-hmm.
So for the growth sort of ideas that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
how do you bring in the financing aspect of that growth in your discussions?
That's a very, very good point. Generally speaking, in my program, we don't work with financing. We're more concerned on, okay, let's find the idea. Let's go out and very quickly learn whether the idea is feasible or not. Is there a market? And then let's action plan to get that going forward. Now, we talk to our clients when we're taking the products to market about identifying death threats. What are the top death threats? Financing is very often one of those top death threats. And so we help them work through that process. Okay, what are 3 things we can do this week to go find out possible sources for financing? What government website for grants? What banks? What angel investors we go talk to? What we encourage them to do, whatever the death threat is let's figure out the top 2 or 3 things we can do. Go do them, and then find out where we're at. Any other questions?
I have a question for Bryson. Technology changes. Home pregnancy test kits. I mean, it went from having to go in a lab to being done at home now. Are you concerned about technology changing where all of this outsourced stuff that you're getting for toxicology can be done by companies or people without the sophistication that you have? I mean, you got 350 people you go to. If technology comes by, all of a sudden you're going to be one of the biggest layoff forces around.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing anything to keep up with R&D and the technology that could change to impact you?
We are actually, and we've actually provided them with a first response type of kit to give them some sort of knowledge, all of the pain management and things. We send out kits to all of our clients now that are they can purchase. It's optional for them, but they can get a first look at if the color turns blue or color turns green, it means that they are probably positive or probably negative for certain things. But to get the type of to run the tests that we do, you need some very, very in-depth technology, which we're on the cutting edge of that in our laboratory setting. So we're making sure that we're at the forefront of that to provide the quickest and the most efficient results. But we are adapting that a little bit because people are wanting results quicker and quicker. And so we provided the I can't remember the exact term for it, but it's an eye cup, we call it. So when they give a specimen, they can say, well, this is most likely a negative sample. So, but they don't know for sure until it runs through all our kind of more in-depth technology. So we are adapting. We know that's a threat, and our sales team is very aggressive in making sure that they know that that's not a fail-safe method that they need to still send in our lab, but it is a first kind of a first test for them to take a look at. So, yeah, we definitely in mind. People want that response quicker and quicker. So.
Okay, I believe per the schedule we've come to the end of our session. So thank you for your attention, and I believe the next activity is a break, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Is that correct?
And let's thank Rich for bringing along a wonderful group of companies.